Hey guys, in this quick mobility session, we're going to go through 3 stretches: the hamstring, the glute, and the quad and hip. We're going to hold each stretch for 45 seconds, and I'll kind of voice over to talk to you about how you should be doing each of the stretches. Let's get it.
In this first stretch here, we're getting the hamstring. You can see that I'm keeping my back nice and straight, kind of working around into the edges. Make sure that you've got your stopwatch started. In the case of watching this video, you can just follow along with the time that runs. Look at leaning into different angles, getting the corners of your hip and your hamstring. I lean towards it to get the outside of the leg. As I lean towards the camera, we'll get the inside of the hamstring. Drop your chest down, keep it nice and straight. Try not to round in the back. If you're doing your own timing, anything between 45 and 90 seconds is a good amount of time in the stretch. You'll see I added the foot pull there to get a little more calf, and I'm trying to lean right into that, get deeper as I get in. I'm kind of actively doing this stretch, not just sitting passively in it. This would be a good warm-up stretch for before. As we switch legs, you'll get a different angle here. You can see that both of the legs can stay straight. I could bend the back one for balance if needed. I'm holding onto the box. Again, get the inside of the gracilis and the hamstring, lean towards the outside, a little bit almost into the IT band there. Turning the foot ever so slightly as I rotate. Good, finding the different angles, those spots that are tight for you. Again, bit of rotation, pull on the foot. Find the way that gives you a good stretch. Doesn't matter what it looks like as long as you're feeling a good stretch in the hamstring area. Good. Remember to keep your timer running. It'll allow you to focus on what the time is in each of the stretches. Sometimes you'll focus on one side a little too much and then not enough on the other. So we want to make sure that we run that clock. As we switch over to the glute here, you'll see I've got a pretty high box. I'm able to lean into it because I'm fairly flexible. And once again, just like in the hamstring, I'm working the edges, trying to get into the twist of the corners a little bit, try to get my head down towards my foot, really reaching in there. As you get more flexible, you'll be able to get deeper into these positions. To start, your foot might be closer back towards your hip with more of an angle at the knee. As we progress, we're going to want to pull that foot up so that it's perpendicular across the body as it's shown here. Again, keep time going. Focus on the angles. Test your depth. See if you can improve each time out. I'll change the angle here a little bit so that you guys can see a little better. Straighten up the chest, push that knee down. It wants to rise probably for you guys. You're going to want to push it down, drop the chest into the foot, over to the knee. Just find different angles where those glutes are tight. Depending on what your pre-training was the day before or earlier in this day, you're going to have some different muscles that are tight each and every time you stretch. You're going to know your body, so find those angles that help to stretch you out. Yet again, keep an eye on that watch. You can set your timer so that it beeps for you and on a repeat, or you can just run a clock and keep checking it every once in a while. Again, test, retest. Can I get my head to my foot? I want to see that I can make sure I get that full range of motion each time out. As I come around the box here, you're going to see we go into the hip and quad stretch. So the foot goes up on the box. We're going to lean back into it. And you can see I have a nice straight line from hip to knee. If you extend that all the way up to the shoulder, I've got a fairly straight line, shoulder to hip to knee. I'm leaning back into it. I kind of move the knee around and you'll feel different positions, different angles. The quad has 4 muscles, hence the name. And we want to make sure we're hitting all those angles as we go. I'm sitting back on my foot. It's relaxed on the box, and I'm getting a good stretch. A little bit of the inside, a little bit of the outside. I'm sitting slightly on the box as well. You can see once again, that's very good that I'm shoulder, hip, and knee in line. Bent, not so good. I've relaxed the hip in that position. As I straighten it back out, we're now getting the hip and the quad both at extension, which is giving us the greatest stretch. Shake it out a little and switch over to the other side. This will give us a nice angle to see. That's a great line from the shoulder to the hip to the knee. I'm sitting back against the foot. There we go, good demo. Straight lines. I settle in there. I don't want to have to stand on my leg and get tired, so I am leaning right back on that box. My left glute is leaning onto the box a little bit. I can have my butt on the box or leaning against the foot. I find this angle to be the best for me. If you've got a harder surface, it might be tougher on your shin. You want to put a pillow on there or find some way to have yourself have a nice stretch without too much discomfort from the pressure. As I finish up here, I'm going to straighten that all out. We're almost done. Making sure that I stick to my timing. 45 seconds is adequate for each side, but longer is fine.
Okay guys, so that's just 3 quick stretches on each side for 45 seconds. Works up to like a 4.5 minute stretch, maybe 5 minutes with the breaks in between. You could run through it twice. You could hold the stretches twice as long. If you have a box, that's great. If you don't, you could use an ottoman. You could use your couch, use a bed, anything that gives you something sturdy to be on. It could be a stiffer bench, maybe with a mat on top or a pillow. But yeah, try to get that done a couple of times a day would be great. But at very least, after each one of your workouts, get one of the mobility routines in. Go get it.